massive inland cliff of Malham Cove is more than just scenery for the 4 young people we've challenged to walk the Pennine Way. Get to Malham, they've been told, and you'll make it to the Scottish border. But Sarah Gibson has been walking on blisters for 5 days. As she and Sue Gartland examine the damage, they see Malham as a crisis point.
Right, you ready? Right. Embrace yourself, grit your teeth. Is that okay? I'm not pulling it too fast. Oh, it looks all gungy and yellow. It's come apart. Oh, that's still on. That's better. Pull this last bit, not fast. Oh, okay. Grit your teeth. It looks better. Oh, it's awful, Sarah. It's not oozing anymore. That's true. It's all on here, look. Will you be able to carry on? Is it quite comfortable? Well, it's better in these trainers than it is in the boots. So do you think you're going to go on then? Yep.
Yeah, put it out. Whoa.
David Whiting and Jonathan Hayden, already friends when we put the team together, come from North Derbyshire. They knew exactly what to expect from the gruelling peat moors of the southern Pennines. Over the first 70-odd miles to their campsite at Goredale Scar, Jonathan Hayden has assumed an informal leadership of the team. The second quarter is limestone country, sweeter and easier walking, beginning with a shortish hike for the benefit of Sarah's feet. There are a few beauty spots along the way, so although the August weather remains moody and damp, the party sets out in good spirits.
Well, yeah, it's the last we'll see of Malham. One last look. Oh, duck. For a duck?
Got a breadsuit?
I've got my breakfast.
Go on.
Ducky.
Probably some trout.
Water will get its chance to hog the limelight later. It plays all manner of teasing games in limestone country. The young walkers themselves, largely strangers less than a week ago, have had to work out their relationships up to their knees in peat bog and under the unblinking gaze of the camera, which is also aiming to cover the whole route. And Jonathan's ebullience, for example, hasn't always been the perfect answer when Sarah, tired and blistered and 2 years younger than the rest, has male pride. Whatever it is, they get every chance to display it on the stone staircase up the western side of Malham Cove. It's man-made and much more recent than the terracing cut by prehistoric farmers nearby. At the top, however, the seemingly deliberate constructions are entirely natural. The blocks of stone that make up this treacherous pavement are called clints, as in Eastwood. The cracks between, quite capable of snapping any misplaced leg, are grikes, a name only actors wishing to play villains should adopt. The villain of this particular piece is the water. It's said the River Aire once bucketed over the top here in a waterfall higher than Niagara. Where is it now? Well, it's not the clear stream that emerges from the bottom of this plunging cliff. Even completely dry as the top is now, Malham Cove retains an awesome fascination. It turns approaching humans into puny specks, but draws them quite irresistibly to its precipitous and unguarded edge.
Be a bit careful on the top here, because if the limestone's as slippy as it was over on the plateau, then
It is.
we
Yeah,
could
it's still a bit wet.
die, I suppose.
Is
the word. Yeah.
It's a long way down, isn't it?
Crikey.
How far do you think it is?
300? Over 300, I would guess.
It's good, that, isn't it?
Spectacular. Don't you go any nearer the edge. Yeah.
You're slipping in the train, so... It's too stealthy.
Kill myself
You can
yet
tell how
again.
many people
Yeah, there
must come over.
Must be hundreds.
Sure that's the right way?
Yeah,
Yep.
positive.
dry valley behind is a handsome product of Ice Age erosion. It isn't the official route, but walkers have always voted with their feet, and over the years it has become the popular one.
Thank you.
Very nice.
And so to the mystery of the disappearing Niagara. The River Aire rises in the brooding waters of Malham Tarn, but vanishes into the ground before the Cove and lives a secret life for 2.5 miles, coming out south of Malham village. The truth emerged when they put dye in the water. Tarn House Field Study Centre was once host to Darwin, Ruskin and Charles Kingsley when he was writing The Water Babies.
All that one's doing.
Are the cows? I can't see. Right.
Shots of the cows were like with the bullocks.
Look at this one. Please move, cow.
It's all right, they're only curious. And at the lonely Pennine farm at Pen-y-ghent, the walkers have arranged to camp with friends. Downhill all the way. The high roof of England is as empty as almost anywhere in Europe. For many, that's its serious attraction. The comfortable stretch planned for day 7 will cross one road and pass one house before reaching Horton in Ribblesdale. But in its time, this land has yielded rich harvests to its owners.
Hey, come and watch these sheep. Those dogs are amazing.
Those 2 dogs?
Yeah.
Nobody makes a fortune out of hill farming nowadays, but families still cling on to the land where it lets them. And as the farmyard fills up with billowing fleeces, ready to be barbered and spruced up for the marketplace, you begin to understand the part sheep play in the phrase, the fat of the land. They were once England's richest natural resource, our greatest export. And somehow the simple, purposeful, unromantic but largely unchanging graft of working with sheep has a curiously reassuring effect under the summer sun. With 2 summits of over 2,000 feet ahead of them, the walkers drag themselves away from Pen-y-ghent. The first is Fountains Fell, whose very name is a reminder that the land was certainly rich once. The Cistercian monks from Fountains Abbey, 25 miles away, won from it the revenues of sheep farming at its most profitable period, and of coal mining too. That's until Henry VIII's primitive version of nationalisation.
You won't stop in mid-stride.
The price of coal for the workers the monks employed in those days was the long slog across the roadless, barren moor. But these mountains weren't always so bare. It was the clearing of the primeval forest for pasture and perhaps to provide pit props that emptied them and turned the soil too sour for anything but heather and the roughest of grass.
Climbing quite steeply now, aren't we?
When we get to the top, we should be able to see Pen-y-ghent, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
Nature's revenge is that the land barely even provides decent pasture now. Only the so-called stone men, they're really tall cairns, watch over a landscape that's an early version of industrial dereliction. Now they guide the long-distance footpath towards the shapeliest mountain on its route, a consolation for ecological disaster.
Has anyone ever walked over Pen-y-ghent before?
I have.
No. Have you?
Yeah.
Is it difficult?
It's quite steep as you know when you first start going up. But I mean, the day I did Wensleydale and Ingleborough as well. I did the 3 peaks in one day.
Is that rock a different colour up there?
The top's gritstone
Is it?
and the bottom's lime. It's quite extensive long ways, but it's not. Yeah. It's quite narrow. Should we go here, don't we?
How long do you think it will actually take us to get to the top of this once we've...
It shouldn't be too long.
The steep face of Pen-y-ghent provides the hardest pull the walkers have tackled since they climbed Kinderscout on the very first day of the walk. The steps, changing suddenly from limestone to a slab of gritstone as you reach the top, are quite safe, but instinctively you use your hands here, if only for balance. As always on the climbs, the boys have pulled ahead. The summit is well worth the effort. Like its great neighbours Ingleborough and Wensleydale, Pen-y-ghent seems to have been deliberately constructed as a solid gritstone platform with an uncluttered view of nature's artistry with the surrounding limestone. The top of the mountain is as bare and as grand as the back of a recumbent lion, a place for rest, refreshment and taking stock.
Hold on. About 3 miles to Horton. And then 1, 2, 3, another 3 up to
6 miles.
What's a piece of
I think we
oil?
need to stop.
I'd love a piece of
Horton and
orange.
get some
See?
food, yes.
Do we need some?
We need some food. It's just smithereens. How many do I want? 8.
Yeah, Sarah.
Is this, give it a shot? I don't mind the orange drops on the floor. Is it going to be open? The shop
That.
hot?
I hope so. I think it's open order.
And how's the money situation?
Money?
Yeah.
Johnny.
I'm okay, you?
Behind you.
Yeah.
Cheers. They've done a lot of conservation work on this bit, haven't they? Because it's so eroded. Apparently it's...
The solemn grandeur of Pen-y-ghent is under threat, from humans not at work this time, but at play. The Pennine Way includes it, and so does the annual 3 Peaks race. But these features attract thousands more people on day trip visits than ever actually take part in the whole event. Erosion means the National Park Authority has had to build an artificial path linking mountain with main road and the region's other conspicuous attractions.
Get to the top.
Try, yes.
I wonder how far it actually goes down.
I don't know. I can't see the bottom.
No, I can't. Don't go lean out any further.
This is the entrance to Hunt Pot. In the limestone country, the Earth's surface has been pinpricked and cleft and punctured in hundreds of places. Underground are caves big enough to hold cathedrals and secret passages too narrow for anything but water to squeeze its way through. Most visitors are content to gaze in wonder at the spectacular entrances to this mysterious underworld. Its full discovery remains an incomplete adventure.
Only 7.
Johnny's on 8. The 2's floaters.
Yes, because I've got one.
Yes, all right.
It may be the improved conditions overhead and underfoot, or it may be the fellow feeling created by 7 days' shared labour. Suddenly, but quite clearly, 4 young strangers have become a thoroughly harmonious group.
No, you can't. It's really dirty.
Somewhere on today's journey, 100 miles will be logged up, and less encouragingly, limestone will give way to gritstone, green pasture to moorland. But first considerations are what the generals call logistics.
Got the goodies?
Got the goodies, have you?
No, it's
Stay on.
not a great deal.
What's that, what?
Hot loaf, tin of salmon. And I'm being surrounded by wasps. We're off. Even that tin of salmon's made a difference.
What, where's
Where's the ton now?
Tinned salmon indeed. Are they expecting visitors? The weather has already broken yesterday's promise as they set out of Horton in Ribblesdale. It's a busy village that doesn't owe its life exclusively to tourism or farming.
Use pimple competition.
The price you pay for the scenery here is the quarry, blasting fragments of limestone out of the hillside for road building and industry. A road from an earlier age, probably meant for sheep droving and called a green road for obvious reasons, leads away up the pretty tumbling valley of the Ribble.
This is Dry Lake Cave, is it?
This one, Sarah?
Dry Lake Cave. Yeah.
Is it? Dry?
Lake Cave. That's what it says.
Where today?
Dry to me.
I think the potholers call it calf or something.
Is it?
Dry lathe or calf holes, it's the last of the limestone potholes with a name of any kind, let alone 2. The water that goes underground here reappears 20 minutes walk away to the west. The through trip is one of a few that cavers can actually follow all the way.
Nice little valley, that, isn't it? Pleasant.
I believe it's a nature reserve of some sort.
Hey, I think this is Ling Bridge.
The what bridge?
Ling.
Leaning.
Ling.
Ling Bridge.
Apart from moving sheep about, ancient transport policy in rural England meant finding routes for trade. In hill country, this meant packhorse trails for the carriage of salt, textiles, food and tools from the growing manufacturing towns. The Pennine Way is able to make use of one here, leading to Ling Bridge, miles from any modern road. The bridge was last rebuilt in 1765 at the charge of the whole West Riding. The prudent Yorkshireman only had to pay labour costs. The gritstone comes from the bed of the beck. A plaque commemorates the event. The route suddenly becomes domesticated as the walkers work their way down into Wensleydale. It's no more than a paved ginnel in the village of Gale. The high march over Packhorse Road, Roman Road and Packhorse Road again is already a world behind.
Yeah, there's the horse sign. It's all right here. It's only about 2.5 miles, I guess.
It's what?
Well, I guess it's about 2.5 miles. Is there going to be a shop in, I've asked that once, haven't I?
Yeah, there isn't.
There isn't.
Well,
there
I don't
is.
think it'll be open.
Now, which way do we go here?
I think it's the left one.
Left or right?
Left, okay.
Try that way, shall we?
Right, sir. Left, yeah.
Can't go too far wrong, I don't suppose.
Just in time, mate. We're just in time for evensong.
Are we?
Yeah.
So,
Wrong.
Main Street by the looks
What
of
we
it.
want now is a nice warm cafe.
And then the Pennine Way pops you out like a cork from the quiet of the churchyard into the bustle of the centre of Hawes. This is the capital of Upper Wensleydale, another small metropolis of the High Pennines. It's still the home of Wensleydale cheese, and yes, it has the basic requirements of civilization, including that nice warm cafe. A mile and a half beyond Hawes, the walkers reach the village of Hardraw, where they're to camp behind the pub. Wensleydale is spread out behind them, the broadest and lushest of the Yorkshire dales. Agricultural methods may change, but unlike the moorlands and the cities, this fertile valley, watered by Yorkshire's biggest river, the Ure, has kept its shape and its looks more or less unaltered over the centuries. Leaving it behind is the first faint signal of a new phase to come on the Pennine Way. A day of superlatives. The highest pub in England at Tan Hill, the highest mountain on the walk so far, Great Shunner Fell, and first the highest above-ground waterfall in England. Human figures are again scaled down to mannequins by the sheer power of Hardraw force. Fossdale Beck spills 96 feet in a single graceful arc from the limestone lip to the pool below. The natural proportions of the rocky framework to the force couldn't be improved. It's a half-mile detour for Pennine Way walkers, but you'd have to be very tired or very mean-spirited to miss out the chance to steal into the sheltered cave behind the clamour of the water. The high ground is calling for attention again. A deceptively gentle rural path leads up Bluebell Hill. That won't last.
Come on, we'll get to go over the stile, I think. That's what it's here for. Good. Cheats. Pennine Way goes up this stile.
Hold on, I guess the hook.
It's longer at fast in gear than it was get over the stile.
The track leads to some old coal pits on a southern outpost of Great Shunner Fell, but the summit held no attraction for our ancestors and they left no real path. There is the odd passing jet on a training flight for company, but on the top at 2,340 feet you can expect only your own kind.
Hello. You walked up from Thwaite?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it taking you up? Taking you long? An hour.
Is it?
Ahead, the Pennines get still higher and still emptier, but there's time for a welcome, if temporary, respite in Swaledale.
You nearly finished with pen, Johnny? Really warm down here, isn't it? It's gorgeous.
Who's everyone else right? United too soon.
There's two lads that are...
Pardon? Oh, typical. I thought as much.
A rare chance to bask in the sun, write home or watch the world go by. If August in England behaved itself more often, would anyone ever stir themselves enough to walk the Pennine Way?
Shut gates, please.
Close it, yeah. It's a sturdy bridge.
Pretty.
Nice river.
Certainly is.
There's only 4 miles, isn't there now?
About that, yeah. Apparently it's quite nasty country though. It's boggy and undefined.
Grand stuff.
The great Wainwright, whose hand-drawn and handwritten guides make him the high priest of England's northern mountains, says Swaledale is the most beautiful of all the Yorkshire Dales. It's also a boundary, the last major river to turn south towards Bradford, Leeds, York and the Humber. From now on, they run north and east to Teesside. The second chapter in the Pennine Way is at a close. The isolation of the far north begins with the lonely Miners' Road that leads to England's highest inn at Tan Hill. With Sarah's blisters gradually healing, the biggest foreseeable enemy is the solitude, which cruelly exposes personal friction and the accumulated fatigue of getting up every morning to another slog. But for the moment, solitude is what you make it.
And now, me lads, when our partridge runs, I'll have a sword, I'll jacket up, and we'll set a course for the Waterloo now. I'll get your own place done. Jamboree, I have been tell sailor, I'm down behind the wind. Jamboree, I'll get your own place done. We reach them a Waterloo now, we'll be up to down Lowry from the spot, and we'll take a trip from the old quiet pot. Oh, Jenny, get your own place done. But Jamboree, every tale sailor, and down behind the whip. Jamboree, oh, Jenny, get your own place done. And now we are into a house jump. We'll be up to down loud and it's on the spot now. We'll take the thing from the old quart pot. Oh, Johnny, get your old face done. But Jamboree, oh, big sailor, sailor, hanging out behind the whip. Jamboree, oh,